The word phygital is the blending of the words physical and digital and refers to a product that's a blend between something physical and something digital and is used to transform an either physical or digital product, service, or experience and make it much more dynamic. For this episode's guest, Victor Rivera, phygital is the best way to describe the way in which he's blending the physical with the digital world. Victor is a veteran collector of African art, and one visit to his OpenSea page, which is linked in this episode's notes, will show you how when you buy one of his African art pieces, you'll also receive an image and an AR or augmented reality 3D file of the purchased art piece that you can then interact with in any physical space. This approach to selling a physical product tied to a blockchain-backed asset is likely the future of commerce and experiences as AR or augmented reality starts to play a bigger role in our daily lives. On this episode, Victor and I discuss his journey into crypto, his African art phygital project, his experiences at NFT NYC, what the NFT space could use to improve, his work with the Artist Collective, and where Puerto Rico is with blockchain adoption. I'm Jarrett Carpenter, and this is More Than Blockchain. Victor, welcome to More Than Blockchain. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Jarrett. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. So before we get going, tell me where you are recording from. And I think I know the answer to because you hopped on the new thing I'm trying to do with Not Crypto Bros, and I need to talk about that eventually here on More Than Blockchain. But tell me where you're out of, where you're from, tell me your story and how you get, your life story and how that got you into NFTs.
Wow. So it's a little, let me see, to make it short, I'm from Puerto Rico, born and raised. And, over there we grew up Catholics, and you got a mix of different spiritualities, African traditions. So I got the tendency for, grew up in Catholic school. I was an altar boy, all that stuff. And then when I got to my 18s, I started the curiosity about Santeria and all the Yoruba traditions. So that's what got me into the African culture. Did all the initiation, young age, and then I got the curiosity of learning more because most of the people go learn. Santeria is coming from the Caribbean, but it's strong in Cuba. But I want to go the roots. So the roots of that is coming from Africa. So starting my studying, learning, I got to learn about the African art. And that's how I started to get more into African art, learning the tribes. So I opened my gallery in 2008 online. And then from there, I got my gallery on to 2016. That got some personal situations, so got divorced. So I got to dissolve the company and the gallery. And after that, I start crypto. After Bitcoin fall from 17, I was not able to buy at 300, but I bought it. It went down, and I bought it for 3,800. So that was way before pandemic. I think it was early 2019. It went first to 12 Gs, and then it came back down. So I started to learning trading with leverage in Fimex. And little by little, making a little pot until I start to get to know NFTs. And then I saw, oh, wow, NFT is authentication of the property. So I see NFT different way than the PFP. I look at the way to real art as a provenance, a birth certificate, is authenticity. So for the regular piece, antique, and it can be new ones, the NFT work like the authenticity, the certification of authenticity. So now with different methods, you can, let me see how I can put it, fingerprint the piece and add that data into your metadata of your NFT and it's not going to be able to be faked. So all that curiosity put me into this, creating the African art in 3D, NFTs, and that was the beginning, man.
Okay, you just did a really good job because I feel like I asked a lot of you and I was like, hey, tell me your whole life story and how you got to NFTs. And you did it in about 3 minutes. So my hat is off. I want to go back actually because this is curiosity. Since Santeria comes from the Caribbean, and like I think that I have a Haitian friend and he talks too about some of the spiritual rituals that also happen in Haiti and obviously
Yes.
the Dominican Republic, and Puerto Rico has its own history with this. So then you trace that back to Africa because that's the origins. And I find it fascinating because I lived in Guatemala for some time and I've also been to many parts of Central America, and any of the
Yes.
coastal communities in Central America, or most of the, for example, Guatemala, one of its national icons is the marimba. But the marimba obviously comes from Africa. But if you're in Guatemala, most people are like, oh, this must be from the indigenous culture. Well, yes, it is, but by way of Africa. So I think that's really fascinating. And my questions are, have you traveled to Africa, and where did you find the roots of Santeria? Like what particular countries, and how does that influence? Because the reason why I'm asking you this is because when we started talking on LinkedIn, here's this guy and he's got all this African art, but he's speaking to me in Spanish. And I'm well versed enough to know that the Portuguese were in Africa, the French, the Dutch, the Spanish, not at least in the southern parts of Africa, maybe, towards Morocco, those parts of northern Africa, just due to geography. So this is all explaining so much to me because when we started talking, I'm like, who's this guy, man? He's like this Puerto Rican dude, but he's got all this African art. So you've pulled that together for me, which is brilliant. And so, yeah, have you had a chance to go to Africa? And where are the countries that have kind of influenced the Santeria in Puerto Rico? Once again, I know this is not about blockchain or NFTs, but I think it is really important to understand when we think about the project you're working on.
No, 100%. And you are like, I can count with fingers first that ask me that type of question, because it's really important, because it's related about culture. So that's something, I don't know if you saw my post on LinkedIn, NFT NYC is missing. So they have art, they have technology, they got utilities, they got blah, 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 blah. I was like, where's culture? Education. Because it's not only education in the blockchain. You gotta utilize the blockchain as a tool that the culture will survive forever. So that's why I was like, wow, it's incredible. So I think what you're doing is really important, even it's not much about blockchain at all, but it's about culture. Different projects building different communities with different purpose. So my purpose is culture. I'm starting with African culture because I'm more closer because of what I have been done since young. But then I would like to do Colombian culture and with all our traditional custom, because you don't see that in the metaverse. Same in Peru, from the Machu Picchu, or from Mexico. Everybody's doing futuristic stuff, but nobody's doing cultural stuff. So same question you do, and those even the same African people, they get more crazy than you when they see like me, and they like, how? So I got it. I'm looking at the phone because I'm looking for the picture of my grandma, because I need to do like this so they understand. Oh, his grandma is black, because people from the Caribbean, we have a mix of the conquistadors, the slaves, and the Indians that used to live in our different lands. So you have this, I don't call, I'm not going to go into that, but it happened a lot of stuff where there was a lot of murder of our Indians, a lot of murders to the African slaves. So where they came to our islands, let's say the guy from Nigeria, he got in love with the Indian Taina, and they have to run to the mountains to hide. Same conquistador, he got in love with the African woman, and he got it wrong and high because at that moment it was not right. So all that combination, that's the culture from Puerto Rico, Cuba, Dominican Republic, and it can go way down to Brazil, bro, all the way up the coast because the slave trade was all the way exchanged from West Coast all around Latin America. Panama is strong. You have all strong African descended communities that we all Spanish, bro. But even the same people from Africa, they don't know that some of them. So that's my purpose. Like my goal is to spread the word that it's not only one continent, and we in Latin America we are African descendant by our culture.
You're spot on there. And it's something that I think, especially in Latin America, there is a lot of racism against black people.
Yeah,
That no, they're Africanos. They're not us. No son Latinos. But obviously, we obviously know that that's not true. You see it all throughout the Caribbean, and especially in the north of Colombia. You see it in the Pacific side of Colombia, all through Panama, Costa Rica, all along the Caribbean. You see it. And I was reading something the other day, and it was talking about the slave trade and how there were more slaves, and this makes total sense due to the landmass. More slaves were brought to Latin America, primarily, you look at Colombia, Venezuela, Brazil, than the entire eastern seaboard of the United States. And
yeah.
obviously, we can include Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, you can include Haiti, Cuba. So for me, it was more that you were speaking Spanish. And I was like, I don't really meet a lot of Africans that speak Spanish. But thank you for rounding that out. And I think it's really important. And I do believe that. And you almost brought me back to the purpose of why I rebranded and called this podcast More Than Blockchain, because I think the blockchain is just a tool, and it's really what we do with it that sits on top, the layer
Yes.
2, the layer 3, NFTs, whatever we're going to do with that. And you already brought up NFT NYC, which is great because I really wanted to ask you. I was actually in New York about a week and a half before NFT NYC, and I foolishly left. And next year I will definitely be there for that because I think even if you don't go to the events, it's cool to be there. You and I will probably connect there next year.
Yes.
And if you could talk a little bit about that, because I think that's crazy. You're like, there's tech, there's art, there's community, but they don't use the word, which I really think encapsulates. And it's almost a word that's maybe overused, but culture. And so, what do you think NFT NYC was missing when it comes to culture? Like, they how did they miss the mark?
I think it's more because of the demographic of the people involved in NFTs. For example, I didn't went to the events. I just went to do IRL, to meet people and do connection, meet more the people that even that we see each other face to face in Zoom or in LinkedIn, but shaking your hand, making that connection is way much better. So what I saw, it was like it was a lot of kids, if you can say kids, like let's say even 17, you can even see 17, 18, 19 to 35, 30. And my analysis is okay. They are in gaming, they are in all these ideas of this type of projects. But why is missing culture in NFT NYC or in an NFT world is the old school collect. The people that walk to the gallery, go to the museum, the people that travel to your country to go to the museum or to the historical place. So that's the people the NFT space is missing. I always says we are still early, we're super early. So because I'm coming from trading, I think I understand more the cycles and how this work rather than the artist that is looking at the apes that go to 100 E's and he think he's gonna make some drawing and he's gonna be millionaire too. So the young kids was making money trading too. That's what people don't understand. That's why you see a lot of projects, they go high value or this cannabis project also, some of them they go high value and you're like, why? But it's because the community is strong. This community, some people call them the kid, mom, dad kids in the basement, but they making money, bro. They trading, they learning how to trade, they make money, they understand the market. So they go to NFT and they can sweep the floor. No problema, bro. Market like that now, market go down, be as a different of a regular collector that like to see the NFT in the wallet. So these collectors, these traders are the same flippers, bro. Where I see the market going down, down. I was Bitcoin is going to 19 again. I'm selling all my NFTs because I'm gonna put my position with leverage. I'm gonna make way more money, and I come back, buy all my NFT and 3 times more. That's the mind of a trader. That at least I used to do that. So the cycle, the artists don't understand. They freak out. They go to work. That's the moment now to create art. When the market is down, you create, because if you go to the past, the behavior of Bitcoin and Ethereum, you see it's like the electrocardiogram machine. Beep, 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 beep. So you need just to watch the history that what happened before. Don't panic and create. But culture in NFT NYC is because of that. You got a lot of young people doing trading, doing flipping. I think when they recognize they don't have art style, they have to look out for a utility to give weight to the NFT and all that type of stuff. I think it's more the young generation. We gotta educate them. Like, let's say you don't hear NFT culture, but you can hear hip hop culture. Why is that? I feel like yes, NFT community, that's the popular thing, but why not NFT culture like hip hop culture? And that's an example.
So I'm so glad you brought up hip hop culture. And for people who are listening to this on Spotify, wherever you're listening to it, you can't see my t-shirt, but I have my Biggie shirt on right now. And hip hop culture is fascinating. And I'm going to try to remember the 4 tenets of hip hop. And if I forget them, hopefully you'll help me out. But it's graffiti, it's MCing, it's dancing, and it's freestyling. I think those are the 4 tenets of hip hop culture. So now I'm going to put you on the spot. What do you think the 4 tenets or 4 pillars of NFT culture should be? If you had to choose and be, Victor Yamanda, he's gonna tell us what the pillars should be. What do you think they are?
I think might be not four, right? But I would go culture, right? That's super important. I'll go with the Phygital, and I will go with community.
So those 3.
Those three. I don't think about utility, because if you trust yourself, art is the utility. The time that you put in the piece is the utility. If you are a money grabber, you're gonna finish one piece in 1 hour. But if you're really creating art, you can take 15 days to make a piece, 20 days to make a piece. Same like the photographer. If you just go into your regular park next to your backyard just to take quick pictures to make quick money, maybe you make a few bucks. But if you're taking your risk, you gotta climb the tree. You gotta wait 3, 4 hours, maybe 8 hours for that animal to pass in front of you. And that's another story. That's a different. So as a photographer, as an artist, is the time, the effort, the sweat.
It's the proof of work.
Yes.
Okay, so in recap, culture, Phygital, and community.
Yes.
And the beautiful thing is you've made this podcast easy for me because I wanted to talk to you about Phygital. And I want to first define Phygital. Phygital is, and then please correct me if I'm wrong, but for me, Phygital is where you take the digital and the physical and you blend them. So if I buy one of your NFTs from your gallery, which is super cool, and if you're listening to this, I will put his gallery in the notes. because it's 3D and you get to walk through it. It's unbelievable. If I buy one of your NFTs, am I getting that the Phygital? Am I going to not only have the NFT and the authentication on the blockchain? Are you also going to send me that art piece? How does that work?
Yes, I will send you the physical piece. Like in OpenSea, that was my, let's call, like everybody's called, my genesis. So in the OpenSea, there's no 3D in the picture, but some of the pieces are in my gallery. So you're gonna get the NFT that is in OpenSea example. You're gonna get the 3D for you to display in your metaverse, and you're gonna get the physical piece. I'll send it in the mail.
Okay, what is the biggest piece you have? Or is there a piece that you're like, you know what? If I send that, I don't know how the hell I'm going to mail it. Because I'm looking in your room right now and I see some pretty large pieces. Is there a piece that, I'm in California, say, and I buy it off OpenSea and you're like, oh God, ay Dios mío, ¿qué voy a hacer? Because now you have to send it to me. Or is there a piece that you're just going to have to drive it out because it's so ridiculous?
All the time is a way to ship it. Remember, my gallery was online. So if you go to my eBay, I have more than 4,000 positive feedback, just in feedback of collectors that they leave you feedback. So I used to send pieces everywhere. Hong Kong, Switzerland, Australia. So example, Australia, they have restriction if you mail it because of the size. So in my description, you can see United States free shipping, because United States you just pay the shipping, and I can send you any size in the United States. But when it comes international, then all depend the piece. Then we make an arrangement. It will be a different arrangement, but it go everywhere. Or I used to send, like, one time I used to have a huge piece, and in Kissy, this is a piece that I have a lot of nails, and I sent this. It was like close to 6 feet, 6 feet tall, like 36 wide, and I remember I put it in a fridge box, and a cargo company, they came, I prepared everything, they came to my place, they pick it up. It took like 3 months because it went in a cargo, but he got the piece. Never got any piece that got lost ever.
Okay, that's great to know because I was kind of wondering. I'm like, how is he going to send these things? But clearly, you have decade plus experience in sending stuff literally around the world.
Yes.
When it comes to Phygital, and once again, I want to go back to NFT NYC. Of all the people that you ran into, of all the projects, and it doesn't have to be an NFT NYC, you could talk about also what's on OpenSea.
Right.
How many, like, what's your percent? And this is obviously just your opinion, but like, you probably have a really good idea on this. How many people do you think are out there offering the Phygital, where you're going to get the NFT, you're going to get the 3D for the metaverse, and you're going to get the physical item? How many people you think are doing that? Because I feel like it's a low number.
Yes, it's very low number. Now it's getting a little bit more popular, so more people are practicing, but it's very, very low number. The way I do, most nobody with the 3D. Most of the people, they do the JP, that's just the picture and the physical piece. That's it. They don't do 3D piece like that. So I'm like one of the, I think not much that do the three combo, but I see some artists that they do Phygital, like Laila Pinto. She do the physical piece with the NFT, with the, I don't know, with the artist collective. I'm working with Daniel Schachner. I'm working with other artists that they old school artists. They coming from traditional art, and I'm onboarding them into NFTs. So we working straight Phygital and no NFT. We have some pieces that are just NFTs, but most of the pieces are Phygital. But around out there in OpenSea, you can find them at the beginning, like offering right there, not much, but you can see some projects, right? That after they finish the sale or whatever, they send you a physical form or a 3D printer form. They do like a raffle after they got sold out. But the traditional people, they coming now because they are retired. They don't need money to survive the crypto market. So that's why when you ask me the pillars, I'll go with Phygital. Why? Because even the digital artists will need to learn how to do physical pieces to survive the cycles.
I think that's exceedingly good insight because my feeling is that moving forward, art can't just be the JPEG. The PFP thing is going to die with this current cycle. And I put out an episode, and I should probably shout out the proper numbers. So if you want to go listen to it, but my whole thing was like, hey, 99% of these NFTs, they're going to die. And they're going to die because they actually don't have any utility. And once the hype wears off, it's kind of over. So that's episode 23. And my whole future, I think, is Phygital. I heard that phrase about a month and a half ago, and it had to do with fashion. And I was blown away by it. But it makes so much sense because there's so many knockoffs in fashion if we're just looking at fashion when it comes to handbags, for example. So now Louis Vuitton can come out and be like, hey, you know what? There's only 3,000 of these handbags. And you have it 0001 all the way to 3000, and it's going to be on the blockchain. And they're going to be able to sell the bags for more money. They're going to be able to stop worrying about people replicating fake ones. Why can't I think of the word replicating fake ones? Knockoffs.
Yeah.
And it's going to be able to probably strengthen their community because then they're going to be able to even have their own Louis Vuitton Discord, whatever, with those people with those bags. And it's going to create an even higher exclusive, more desired item.
Yes.
And do you think that in the future with Phygital, because when we look back at this in 10 years and you listen to this and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that's what I was doing then. You're going to be an OG in Phygital because you already are. Where else, other than art, other than sculptures or physical art, like the stuff you have, fashion, where else do you think Phygital could play a role in society when it comes to NFTs?
It's gonna be everything, bro. Because people think NFT is just the digital art. I think NFT as the birth certificate of the future babies. Your insurance card, your car keys is gonna be an NFT. You're gonna turn the car on. They already have it. You just because with the 1155, the contract can modify. So you're gonna have maybe a GPS system with the security alarm. Nobody can even turn the car on if like the Google Authenticator code go different numbers and you get different codification. So everything from medical history, everything. You can call it NFT or you can call it a document, a certification of. That's what my point of view. You're gonna have you right now. You have real estate. So real estate, there's some project already selling houses, NFT with the real estate. So it's gonna be huge, man. All different aspects. People don't understand all different aspects. It's gonna be huge. The kids report card. You're gonna receive it in your wallet. Oh shit. Oh, why you have F? So
That's going to be a dark day because that kid is not going to be able to argue it at all when the elementary school sends his report card and he has an F and it's on the blockchain.
this is my point of view. It's a combination blockchain and AI collecting data. More data go to the blockchain, smarter AI will get. Smarter he will know. So I always remember the movie Minority Report. So that's how AI is not magic, it's not witchcraft. It's that AI know you so much that he's gonna be able to predict your next step. And everything is in the blockchain, bro. That's why it's legit. Nobody can fake it. Nobody can alterate nothing. Nothing legit, bro.
I've never thought about Minority Report when it comes to blockchain, but I totally see it now in AI. That's beautiful because Minority Report and iRobot, the one, iRobot's with Will Smith, Minority Reports, that's Tom Cruise, right?
Yes.
Those movies, they're like set in the future, but that future is coming towards us like a wave. It's about to hit our shore, and I think it already is. And I want to go back, if we can, and I want to talk about Puerto Rico a little bit because I'm always fascinated about what other parts of the world are doing with NFTs and blockchain. And for me, even as an East Coast person, I'm interested to know what's going on in LA, in San Diego, in Chicago, in St. Louis, in Houston. And so Puerto Rico, what is going on there? Is there Bitcoin adoption? I know that Puerto Rico over the last 10 years has had a lot of trouble with employment. A lot of people have left. It has totally had the, as they call it, the brain drain, where there's just
Right.
not enough local opportunities. So people will leave and go to the mainland. Many people come up to Philly, New York, and Boston. What is going on there? Are there NFT projects? Are people into DAOs? Is there investment in crypto? Is there investment in Bitcoin as people try to find safe havens for their future purchasing power? You're kind of the ambassador right now for Puerto Rico. It's a lot to ask, but if you have anything to share, I would really love to learn.
So what I think for the locals is hard is the way you're describing, right? For let's say, but for you, if you want to move to Puerto Rico and bring your company, there's some tax exemption go by the Act 22, where you move your company to Puerto Rico and you move your family in Puerto Rico. And I'm not sure, but I think you get like 10 years on tax exempt. You only pay like a nada percent in capital gains. So if you go to YouTube and you put Puerto Rico crypto heaven, you will see a lot of people from blockchain, from crypto, no NFT at all, but old school crypto whales, they live in Puerto Rico. A lot of companies, they move to Puerto Rico to get that benefit because you're still in the United States. With the United States benefits, everything. Puerto Rico is a United States territory, so most of people don't know. But we got our U.S. citizen, our Social Security, like if you're born in New York, in LA, anywhere in the USA. But Puerto Rico government, I think that's, they acting not good in favor of the people, local people, where they need to live. They giving all this help to the people that are coming from outside. In what is blockchain, not like other countries. I think in NFT, Cuba is way more advanced than Puerto Rico. Yes, because remember that Cuba, the blockchain gives them the independence of be able to manage money, to don't have third party, to don't interact with bank. So they create their art, they get paid in ETH, and they can manage way much better in Cuba. That's why they start to create a lot of art and they move fast in the NFT world. Puerto Rico is doing good. I think one of the expensive pieces from a guy that he make tattoos. He's a tattoo artist and he creates a really nice piece. It got sold, I think, was for 30 G's. So it was not that, it was good. But same like I always criticize NFT NYC, my people in Puerto Rico, they don't think much about culture. They think about PFPs. So it's going to be the same transition. And then soon they will see, let's say, in Puerto Rico, they do the Catholic saints, the guys that do the sculptures. So soon they're going to 3D make it and go more cultural. And I think more we go at in the advancing in the NFT, the traditional artists will get into the NFT. It's all about education.
I couldn't agree more. I have a friend, he is Colombian, Juan Pablo, if you're listening to this. I've been wanting to go out to where he lives in Colombia and just sit with him with our mics and record. He's a dear friend. And I remember it was about a year and a half ago. It's like, hey man, why don't you turn some of your art into NFTs? He did it. I didn't help him. He just, threw something up on OpenSea and sold it for zero point 0.3 ETH, which at the time was, Ethereum was around 1500. So all of a sudden he's making $500, and the average minimum wage in Colombia is around $300. So in one sell, he's making 60% more than his monthly average wage, minimum wage. And it was just mind blowing. And since he's definitely dove totally in, but it was just a little bit of education. It was a little bit of trial and error. And then it was a little bit of a kind of a leap of faith, because I think if you are an oil to canvas artist, the idea of selling something digital I think that there's an idea, and I've heard this, that it takes away from the craft. But my thing is like, no, this opens you up to a market seemingly of unlimited amount of people because there are people buying NFTs and interested in art all around the world as collectors. And keeping on that, I really want to ask you about the Phygital aspect because I get that you have the African art piece or the let's say the headpiece, and I get that you then have the picture of it. How do you go about making the virtual reality element? And I say this because I think it's fascinating. And if you're listening to this, you need to go in the footnotes of the episode. You need to click on Victor's website so you can see it. And also go to LinkedIn and follow Victor. And Victor will do the LinkedIn shout outs at the end because there are videos of you in Times Square and there's this floating African art piece, but it looks so great in AR that it looks like it's there. And so, how do you go about taking the art piece and putting it into 3D?
It's a little not easy, not hard because it's a combination of scanning, blending, making sure you get the wood. When you do go close in my gallery, it's no distortion. You can see the wood how it is. So it take a little time. That's much what it take time and being in the computer fixing those details. And then in the same with another application, then I'm able to put an AR. So where I gonna put it, and then I can take the video. So now I'm working to make an AR, let's say, and then I'll send you a link, and then you get the link and you get your phone, and then you're gonna see the piece.
Can I ask you what the softwares that you use to turn it into AR?
It's right now I'm working with Polycam. It's not the same like lidar, but you can use lidar with them or depend the size of the object. But I'm using Polycam, and now I'm gonna try to use another one. I'm having some talk with a friend because we're doing something crazy. So I'm gonna try to put the mask. So you're gonna have the mask on.
Okay, cool. So it would be kind of like a filter on Instagram, for example.
Yes, something like that.
Okay, cool.
In AR.
Yeah, because I've seen your videos now for months. As we connected seemingly a decent amount of time ago on LinkedIn, and I see your videos, and they're just mind blowing to me because I think VR is really amazing, and we're gonna get to VR sooner than I think people imagine. But before we get there, I think AR is gonna just transform everything. I think AR is gonna be the gateway drug into VR because people are like, oh, wow, we're half the way there. Let's go fully. Because some of the stuff I've seen on AR is just mind blowing to me. And your African pieces just in the middle of anywhere are so cool. And especially when you put them out in like a greener forest, if it's an animal, an elk or something, and it looks like it should be in that native environment, it is so freaking cool. And do you connect with other people that are doing AR art like this? Like, who do you talk with when you're trying to run these ideas by? Because I feel like for me, and I know you feel the same, there's only a select amount of people I can talk to about this stuff because everyone else thinks I'm crazy or they just don't understand, and that's okay.
Yes. So, thanks to LinkedIn, I met you, I make different connections. I met some people that I have been working yet, but I'm gonna try to work with them to improve what I have been doing. Right now, I'm working with Ken Newton, and we create the Artist Collective. And he's the guy have been helping me in the technical stuff. So he was the one that helped me out to make my gallery. He pushed me, yo, you gotta do like this, like this, like this. Blah, blah. So from the gallery, everything come out. But yeah, I'm talking with Stu. He's on LinkedIn too to try to work out some stuff and to different people about the AR. And I agree with you. Shopping experience is gonna go through AR, like closing, like you wanna try your watch, you AR, you see how it look in your hand. So that shopping experience, I think is gonna go more to AR. And then let's say when you go groceries, they might be VR because you want to see the food. So it's two different worlds that are gonna be parallel each other.
Episode 15, I outlined how our shopping experience is totally going to be transformed.
Yeah.
And these are things that people were saying. I'm not like some Nostradamus. And I saw today that Walmart now is doing this thing with shoes where you can try on AR shoes to get your size right and you'll be able to see it. I don't know exactly how they're doing it, but I think during this bear market, as more and more companies build, by the time we get next into the bull market, this is going to be like a normal thing. And then you are totally going to be doing TED Talks about OG Phygital stuff, which is going to be really cool. Briefly, can you talk about the Artist Collective? Because you sent me a link to it and I was checking it out and it looks really cool. And if there are artists that want to listen and they have physical art, they have sculptures, whatever medium they work with, is the Artist Collective a place, I believe it is, where they can reach out to you guys and kind of get some, some support?
Yes, we work, Ken and me, we create the Artist Collective. Our main goal is to give the support to the artist to get to the collector. How is giving the trust to the collector that the artist is legit. So we creating this a platform where you're gonna have your profile, you're gonna have a live streaming channel, you're gonna have a live chat. So we're gonna do KYC to the artist because I want to protect my collector. So doing KYC to the artist, the collector know he's not gonna get rock pulled, and that tomorrow I'm gonna wake up and my NFT is not gonna be my wallet, like happened to me many times with OpenSea. I wake up, where's my NFT? Oh no, this account is removed from OpenSea. And even the guy is legit, is in unknown origin. So a lot of the stuff that is not good for collectors, that's what I'm trying to fix, me and Ken with the Artist Collective. We have different package where we help you to mint. If you have sculpture, we help you to do the 3D forms, and all different tools. We do social media. We help out with the Twitter space. So it's a huge package. That way you stay creating art and we take care of the others.
That is exactly what the space needs. They need the a la carte for people that are trying to get into Phygital so they can just focus on the art.
Yeah.
I find myself constantly trying to find someone who can hopefully help me edit so I can just focus on having conversations with people like you that are doing very cool stuff within the space. And do you want to take a minute? Where can people reach out to you? Feel free to drop your own personal. I mean, you have a lot of places people can find you. So you could talk about your personal, you could talk about African NFTs, and you can also talk about the Artist Collective.
So you can find me on Twitter because my Twitter is real, from 2013, since I have, doing my African art, but my Twitter is Afurakan Gallery, AFURAKAN Gallery. Or you can type africanartnft.com and you can find me. Also in LinkedIn, you can find me as Victor Rivera. Also, you can type African Art NFT and you can find me there. If you type in Google African Art NFTs, you can find me. Pinterest. I'm not so active in Pinterest, but you can see a lot of work from when I used to sell in the galleries. So I got like more than 200 different pieces over there in my Pinterest. LinkedIn is the spot. LinkedIn, you can see my face, you can see the people that endorse me, because in LinkedIn, you got the opportunity that you see who is endorsing you. So that's really important. And Twitter, I use it for the spaces.
I completely agree. LinkedIn is where the newer version of some of the content I'm going to be creating is going to be with Not Crypto Bros. It's my favorite place to exchange and meet people for sure. It's where we met. And thank you for hopping on the podcast.
No, thank you for the invitation.
Muchas gracias y que esté bien.
Gracias. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to this episode, and be sure to find Victor on LinkedIn at Victor Rivera. I've added a link to his LinkedIn profile in this episode's notes, as well as a link to both his 3D interactive gallery that shows off his African art and his OpenSea profile. Also, as an outro note and correction to what I said about the 4 pillars of hip-hop, the 4th pillar is not rapping, but turntabling or DJing. Please be sure to follow us on social media at More Than Blockchain and check out our website at morethanblockchain.xyz to learn more. As always, please subscribe to More Than Blockchain wherever you listen to podcasts, and be sure to share this episode's link with a friend, family, or colleague via a text, DM, or email. Thanks again for listening to this episode, and I'll see you next time.